to the Trust Tree, the show where we will explore real people, real issues, real life situations, stories about people living their lives. I am not your host, but your trustee, the NASHVINO. Um, let's talk a little bit about trust in a sense. Um, in business relationships, a trust is defined as a fiduciary relationship in which a party, known as a trustor, so that would be the person that I'm talking to or interviewing, gives another party, the trustee, which is me, the right to hold the title to their property or their assets. So basically, their story, their experiences, their testimony, and for the benefit of the third party, which would be the beneficiary, and that would be you, the viewers. So in this case, we will be exploring people's lives and the testimony and experiences that they are entrusting to me. Those of you that are familiar with the Unwrapped family, everything we do is surrounded by the trust tree. We live in the trust tree. If you hop in the comments, you're in the trust tree. It's a safe space, basically. In a sense, tree is made up of roots, and in order for the tree to grow, it needs deep, strong roots. So as people, our foundation, our upbringing, that would be our roots. And if that's strong and balanced, you grow into a person, you become a tree, then you have your branches, and then your leaves bloom from those branches, and even if you're special enough, I guess you get flowers. So, our forefathers said that they wanted every one person to have the chance to have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We all know that's not true. In the world we live in now, one can only hope to at least get a little bit of peace, love, and understanding in their lifetime. And the way we get that is by consuming and extending grace. So every week we'll explore another real person, their life, their experiences. Today's focus is behind every strong person, there's a story that gave them no choice. So this person in specific, they exhibit, I'd say, everything this person you would describe a strong person as. They exhibit a son, a brother, a father, I'd say an uncle, a husband, a master of vision in terms of music, editing, technically even design, a confidant, a friend, somebody that I trust, and he's a mentor. Ladies and gentlemen, our first guest is actually really the architect of all things Unwrap, in terms, ladies and gentlemen, Heat Detector. Welcome, Heat Detector. How are you?
I'm good. This is going to be a little strange. That was a hell of an introduction.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah. I don't know if I'm worthy of it, but it was a hell of an introduction nonetheless.
Ain't that about a bitch?
I'm a little nervous. I'm not used to being in the hot seat.
Why? All seats are hot. You're in a trust tree. You shouldn't be nervous.
Yeah. Shout out to the trust tree.
Shout out to...
I'm trusting
You're
right
trusting?
now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am the trustee, so all right. All right, Heat Detector, tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your origin story?
That's a good question.
You can go as deep as you want.
That's a good question because I'm still finding out my origins. I'm still finding out who I am. I don't know if that sounds weird or not. I'm really finding out who I am and my origins. But if we're talking just generic, born in California, raised everywhere else.
Okay. Everywhere else.
Everywhere else.
What the hell does that mean?
That just means, growing up, there was a lot of movement from the East Coast, West Coast, the South, and damn near every place in between.
Do you think that if you hadn't had that experience kind of like bouncing all over the place, that you would have been completely different?
Oh, I know I would have. it's hard not to. That's something that's really hard not to think about, because I think about it a lot. Like, what would I be like if I had just stayed in Cali, or what would I be like if I never lived in New York, or never had the experiences that I had in the South, and or even on like reservations when I was really little, really informative years, other shit. I mean, you know, but every life experience teaches us something that we use, or we hold, or we think about. I mean, lately, that's what I've been thinking about, like my origins. Like, well, who am I really? You know what I mean? It's one thing to sit and talk and tell a story about shit, and it's another to be like, I don't know, who the fuck am I? You know? And that's kind of like a deeper question for a person, for themselves, you know what I mean? If you really look at it, you know. I'm going through like this weird transitional stage in my life right now, so that's kind of a really deep question for me at least.
Is it more like trying to figure out, like, you know, what makes me tick and why?
Yeah, kind of like that. What makes me tick? Why do I tick that way? If that makes any sense. Like, why did I make certain choices? What led me down certain paths? Is that when, like, another thing is like, wait a minute, is that like really who I am? Like, is that really, you know, the person that I am, or was that a result of something in the upbringing, or a result of an experience? And does it define me? Does it define who I am? Well, that's the question, I think. Like for me, that's the way I'm looking at it now, because I know how I feel inside, but my outer doesn't necessarily always jive with my inner.
So it's one thing to, you know, kind of be in it when you're going through it, but like when you think back to some of your, you know, oldest memories from your childhood, in hindsight, would you say that you had a happy childhood?
Shit. I don't know. When my sister and I talked about this before, because she says, and I think she was right, there's a lot of years in my life that I glorified some of the living, and it wasn't until I really got on this journey that I am now that I look back and I go, wow, what the fuck was I thinking? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would I glorify that shit? But if it was all I knew, and the person that was molding that shit was the only person that I looked up to at the time, then yeah, maybe so. You know what I mean? And as for as many bad things that happened within that period of time, there was a lot of good things too that I remember. You know what I mean? Or I don't know if they were necessarily good, but in my brain, they seem cool or good or whatever.
The person that you said that you looked up to, did you look up to them because they made you feel safe?
That motherfucker made all of us feel a whole bunch of different ways. Like, for real. I mean, he was a pimp, so we felt safe but unsafe.
Okay.
If that makes any sense, because nobody would fuck with him, but he fucked with everybody. You know what I mean? He never put his hands on his kids or anything like that. But he beat the shit out of my mom all the time. But he didn't ever touch us. He didn't ever do shit to us. And I think, as a kid, I felt safe with him, and I looked up to him as a father. He wasn't my father, but even still, in my brain, I see him more as a father figure than like the pimp. I remember he's a pimp. I didn't know he was a pimp at the time, but because I was a little kid, and he was like, "Oh, he works the graveyard shift," and I literally, as a kid, thought he worked at a graveyard. Like, you know, as a kid, you don't know none of this shit, so I thought he worked.
That shit probably would creep me out.
Graveyard, yeah, kind of. And I always envisioned him like digging plots and shit. It's stupid. When I think about it, though, like when I think about that from being a child, that was my thoughts. And then we were always dressed nice, and we always had all the nicest shit, the nicest house, the nicest everything. So that when I think about that, that's what I think about, the good part. And then the other parts were just a whole bunch of other shit that comes with that lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You don't know about that lifestyle until you get older. I didn't realize that's what we were involved in. I don't know, as kids we weren't really I guess we were involved. I was telling somebody the other day that we were more like arm candy to him.
Children often are.
You know, we were the and that's why we had to be so perfect all the time, because we were a representation of him whenever he would go out, because my mom was like the bottom bitch, and we were the representation of him, and he was a family man / pimp / every, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So how we looked and how we behaved outside of the house was every fucking thing. Like, it was everything. Like, even when they'd have guests over, like, our play clothes had play clothes. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had clothes we wore when people were coming over to play outside that we didn't wear when we went out. You know what I'm saying? And then we had, when there was nobody coming over, then we had the other, the fucked up play clothes and shit. So we always had to look, or the personification, or personify, or the smoke and mirrors, that everything was fucking perfect.
And as an adult, you can kind of pull from that security,
Mm-hmm.
structure, discipline.
Yeah, but if you don't know what it is, it fucks
That's
you
why
up,
I specified
because
as an adult.
yeah, well, if it goes untested and it goes like, if it doesn't register in your head that it's bad or it's fucked up, you think you're doing the right thing.
And that kind of shapes something else.
Yeah, and it turns into something completely fucking different. You know what I'm saying? Because then you become the very person that you didn't like, or
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So although
Maybe with a different outfit on.
yeah, shit, I'm starting to sweat. Boy, shit getting a little deep. I almost shed a tear there a couple times, like, thinking about it. I mean, because the shit is like, the more I think about that kind of shit in life and where I am right now, is like, fuck, like, it's a lot, man. It's a lot.
Do you think that you have more triggers than the average person?
That's funny. I don't like using the word triggers, but I know I have.
Everybody's got triggers.
I get set off on so much shit that for me it's a fight. It's a constant fight to not be triggered. It is a nonstop, constant fight to keep my shit together, to keep my thoughts together, to keep my brain together, to keep me from flipping the fuck out, japping the fuck out, doing whatever in the fuck. Especially if I get upset or I get mad about something, or if there's a situation where, I don't know, like, if it feels like to me it's gonna turn violent, I'm gonna be the first motherfucker to get off before anybody. So that's terrifying to me now as an adult. I ain't trying to, you know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to go to jail and shit for no stupid motherfucker or nothing like that,
Is that what you're most insecure about?
What, going to jail?
Keeping the lid on?
Oh, I'm extremely insecure about keeping the lid on. Yeah, I'm extremely insecure. Like, the more I think, like, when a person really starts to go down a road of, like, you know what, I need to figure out what's wrong with me. I need to fix what's wrong with me. I think you really start uncovering a lot of shit, and I'm finding out I got a Santa Claus bag full of insecurities.
It's kind of like you don't know what you don't know until you don't know it.
Yeah, I don't even know what the fuck that means, but, like, you don't know what you don't know until you don't know it.
Yeah. Like you don't know you're supposed to know something until you figure out that you don't know it. Typically when it's staring you in your face.
Yeah. I can rock with that. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, I'm not a stupid man, so there's times where I would see things and I know it's fucked up, and I know it ain't right, but I do it anyways. Like, fuck it. I was watching myself on a Facebook Live that I did like 14 years ago, and I was looking at that shit, and I was like, the shit that I was saying was so outlandish to me now. And I was drunk too, and I was just like, yeah, motherfuckers, you want to smoke, man, don't give a fuck. And I was saying some other shit, and I was like, I do what the fuck I want, when the fuck I want, and how the fuck I want. I don't give a fuck about nobody. And just like, and I was sitting back like, damn, nigga.
But at the time, that was your truth.
It still is my truth, though. It still is my truth. That's the scary part. It still is my truth. My truth is I will do what the fuck I want, and I will say what the fuck I want, just not in that manner.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I can see, like, when I was watching that shit, I could see little glimmers of who I am, you know, because in reality, that is who I am. I'm boisterous. I say what I want to say. I don't think I have too much of a filter, but I do have a filter. I'm not afraid of anything. I mean, I'm afraid of dying, I guess. I'm afraid of being missed.
Mm.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Damn.
Oh, fuck.
That just hit me. Yeah.
That was awful to say out loud, to feel that. I'm afraid of, that's fucked up. I have a little bit of that experience.
Yeah.
And I really took the bitch made way out. I just didn't process it at all. Like,
Right.
straight up. Because who can?
Yeah.
Like, that's some shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got an equally.
Yeah, that fucked me up. I didn't even realize that was going to be that hard to say. Shit.
I mean, but that was, yeah. Okay. If you died tonight without the opportunity to say your goodbyes, what would be your biggest regret?
That's fucking, that is the dumbest question ever, but the most profound question ever for me. Because that's a question I've asked myself literally since I was about 10 years old. Every day. Like nonstop.
Does the answer change every day?
I think it changes depending upon the situation. But it's something that I think about, and I've thought about every day, probably as far back as I can remember. I think maybe because I went to this funeral when I was in Texas. I was about 11, I think, and I'd never been to a funeral before, and it was
That's
funeral.
fun.
It was a funeral at a Baptist church, which I had never been to before either.
Damn.
So there was a lot of shit going on, and it was a real culture shock to me. And it just, that shit really, I don't know, it did something to me. Like, it really, you know, among other shit, but that in particular is something that I always think about. It made me, the first time I can ever remember, made me start thinking about death.
Yeah, it kind of makes it real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't feel real. I remember thinking that guy was going to get up and this, you know, like, it was like a movie or something.
Is it because the Baptist experience is kind of theatrical, you know?
I don't know. All of it was it was a culture shock to me. So like the whole time, I remember thinking, should I cry? Should I not cry? Because I didn't know the person, but everybody was fucking crying and everybody was doing all this shit. And I remember being completely fucking confused of what and how to behave and how to act. Because remember, I came from a household that was like, everything was, you know, there wasn't you know, everything was fucking strict and fucking one way. And now I'm in this environment where all this shit's happening, and people are loud and screaming, and things are happening. I mean, even outside of the church, you know, the home structure and, you know, wasn't accustomed to any of that. So that shit fucked me up. Whatever.
All right. Fair enough. When do you feel truly alive?
Fuck, I don't know. If I'm being honest, when do I really truly feel alive? Probably, I don't know. I don't know.
Not even when you're creating?
No, because when I'm creating shit, I'm in whatever mode that's in, and I don't really think about too much. I think about what I'm doing. I think about the task at hand. I think about what needs to be done, or, you know what I'm saying? And I've always been like, when I make music, I've always been like, all right, because I don't know where it comes from. I feel like I always say that it's like I get poked in the head from God or something. It says, do this, because every time I make something, if I go back and I listen to it, I'm like, how in the fuck did I put that together? What gave me the wherewithal to put that together like that? Because if you asked me to do it again, I wouldn't be able to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That's a good question. You're gonna have to come back to me on that one.
Okay, all right. When was the last time you did something for the first time?
The last time I did, I don't know. That's like my kid asking me. It fucked me up a couple months ago. They asked me, what do I like to do for fun? And that stumped the goddamn shit out of me.
Yeah, I don't really too much know that either.
Yeah, I was like, and the thing that really fucked me up is because nobody's ever asked me. And because I sat there and I was like, wow, what do I like to do for fun? And then I just like went into some emotional mode because it dawned on me that nobody has ever asked me, like my mom, or what do you want to do, or what do you like to do, or I can't remember anybody ever asking me what do I like to do. And at that time, my daughter's walking in, and I go, Nia, what do I like to do? And she looked at me and she goes, that's a good question. I don't know. And that fucked me up even more. So what do you say was the last time I did something for the first time? The last time I did something for the first time. I don't know. Oh. I apologize to my wife for a bunch of stuff, all in succession.
Damn. Well.
Back to 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 back.
Okay, so hold on to that because we're gonna circle back. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail?
I don't know, because I feel like that now. I really do. I've always felt like that. I've always felt like I'm looking for my lighter. I've always felt like and I don't know where that comes from, but I've always felt like if I put my mind to something, I won't fucking lose. I just won't lose. And it's not like a competitive thing, like where I'm like, I'm a fucking champion, or, you know, I'll run you over or anything. No, I just feel like if I put my mind to something, because everything that I've ever put my mind to, I haven't failed. So I don't think I've ever not thought like that. I always think that way. I literally, like, I wake up thinking that.
And it sounds very simple, but it's really not, because almost everybody just kind of sits in their fears, you know? Like, Will Smith once said this thing about on the other side of fear is freedom.
Right. I feel like there's fear with it. There's a ton of fear with it.
Well, you're never going to lose the fear.
Right.
I think that's the difference between being dead and alive.
It's a driving force for me,
right.
though. It's like a real driving force. Like if I say I'm going to do something, and then, like, if I'm putting something together, and I'm like, my brain already tells me I'm going to do it, and I'm going to be successful at doing it. And so I start doing it, and then, of course, there's, what if you fuck up, and then what if you do that, and what if this happens, and all of that shit creeps up, and all of that shit is a constant. But I don't know, I don't know, I've always, I don't know, I was a big dreamer as a kid. I was a big dreamer. I was telling someone today that, like, I used to get, and it made me think, because I used to get sketch pads and everything, because my mom didn't like me doing music. That's a whole other story. But when I was really little, she gave me, for Christmas and birthdays, all I got was sketch pads and notebooks and shit, because all I would do was sit in corners and draw and write all the time. Like, the moment I was able to pick up a pencil or pen, I was drawing, or color crayons, I was drawing. And any notebooks, I was constantly writing stories and shit like that. And I think she did that to keep me the fuck quiet, because that would be like, you can give me that shit and I'll be over in the corner and I'd be happy as I don't know what. And just, I don't know if I was happy. I would just be there in my own little world drawing, whatever it is I draw. I'm going to check the door. This is probably what you call it, but yeah, sorry. I don't know, I forgot. I kind of tangent off to something else, but I think that's part of it, though. As far as the whatever, I don't know. That's a good question, though. I don't know. Because I really don't. And then I know that when I tell people, like, I honestly, like, when I think about shit, I'm like, there's no way I can fucking lose.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean it doesn't come with, oh, fuck.
What if I do?
Yeah. Because the failure to me is unacceptable. The failure to me is unacceptable. And it's not the unacceptable, like, the failure to me is more like, God, I really let everybody down. Like, I fucked up. That's one of the things I'm finding out really about myself, about shit. Before, if I fucked up, it's like, I'll do it again.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. What do you think is the difference? Like, where'd that come from?
What?
Like, this, like, aside from the not drinking anymore, you were one way before, but now without it.
But I think I was like I said, I think I was always that way. Like I said, when I saw the Facebook Live, I could see glimmer of what I see in myself now and how I speak and how I talk. You know, I could see glimmers of like, oh, okay. Because in all of that shit, I was saying other shit. You know, I was like, you know, I care about this, and I said at one point, I said, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna say what I say, drunk, sober, whatever. And it was just some things that I was just like, oh, this person, because you know, drinking and drugs and all of that shit, I'm not trying to be like no fucking holier than thou, motherfucker, nothing like that, but it is a mask.
Mm-hmm.
It's a definite mask to hide shit.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when that was my outer taking over, you know what I mean? Because at a point in my life, that my outer had to be a certain way because of my mother, because of a lot of shit she got entangled with and things, and so I was treated like the attack dog a lot. So my outer was always like, you know, the fuck, what's up, motherfucker? You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
And it goes back to like what I said, shit. If it gets like that, I'll be the first to take off and make sure motherfucker ain't gonna get me before I get them. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be the first to swing. And that's scary, you know. Again, that's scary, like just in life, because, yeah.
Well, I think though also with maturity, you learn to like, we know us, we know what we're capable of withstanding, and like I think the smart or the mature thing to do would be to not put yourself in those fucking positions. I mean, of course, there's a lot of shit you can't control. I get that, but I mean, in terms of you know, there's a lot of people in this world that know that they got a hair trigger, but they hang around people that do a lot of fuck shit. That's kind of what they do all day, every day. You know what I'm saying? They just do reckless shit for no reason. They act as if they absolutely have nothing to lose.
No, I don't believe that. I think people do things with intent all the time. I think people do things with intent, either good, bad, or indifferent. I think people do things because I know that even though I was doing things and being fucked up and being whatever, there was always intent.
So
at
basically,
least, like for me,
they don't care.
For me, I that's a better way to put it. For me, everything I did had intent.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I do has intent, whether it be good or bad. There's still intent. It's still intentional. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So even my drinking was intentional. My intent to drink was never to be social when I drank. It was to be fucked the fuck up.
But now, you know, those behaviors, those things that you were saying, you said, okay, you know, I'll still be the first one to slap shit out of somebody if they deserve it. But what is the difference between that version of you and this version of you? Like what?
I don't think there's much difference. I really don't. I'm just not hiding behind alcohol anymore.
Okay.
So, like, that's, again, like going back, that's like talking about triggers and shit. Because I got them. I got 1 million of them. It's just managing them motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying? And even drinking was managing them, you know what I'm saying? Now, without drinking, I got to manage them in different ways, you know what I mean? Take a breath.
Process some of that shit.
Process this and that. But, you know, I'm still quick to fucking lose it. I mean, I'm not perfect. I mean, I don't think I'm ever going to be, like, perfect about shit. But, again, it goes back to doing shit with intent. So my intent, like I tell people all the time, like I never burn bridges, ever burn bridges, and I've always been that way. Like even in my drunkest stupor and being in places, I don't burn bridges because you never know, like the other person or whatever. I don't know, but I just never have. And even being sober, I'm like, no, you know what I'm saying? I can't fathom the idea of fucking somebody over.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying I haven't, but I always feel overly guilty even when I do shit, if that makes any sense. I have this insane amount of guilt that travels in me and has always, like every time I do something, I feel like that's probably a big insecurity. If guilt can be an insecurity, that's like my biggest shit.
Yeah.
And always has been, because I'll do something and I'm like, fuck, why in the fuck, what is wrong with you? Now let me go fucking get fucked up.
Do you think that separates a lot of people? Like the ones that could sit in that kind of shit. Like I just did some just trifling, terrible shit, and I'm just cool. I'm just eating my burger, chilling, going on with my life. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, they're called sociopaths. Yeah, that's what a sociopath is.
That is very, very fucking true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nah, I'm a fucking human being. I mean, if you were to ask my kids or anybody really close to me, in my home, they all call me a crybaby, even before I quit drinking.
Yeah, I know.
Ah! Well, that's fucked up.
I mean, it's not a bad thing.
I cry a lot.
Crying lets us say.
And I always have. I'll do something and I'm just like, fuck. Or if somebody does something for me, which maybe that's because I'm not really used to people doing shit for me. And always using me for something. Mm-hmm. My mom and other people. So when somebody does something, it's like, fuck, I don't feel worthy. I don't feel like I deserve it. And then the guilt starts rushing in, and then the guilt of everything, and then all of a sudden now I'm thinking of every fucked up thing that I've ever done. Now I feel like this big, and I feel like a piece of shit while somebody's handing me a cake or something. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck. I just want to kick the cake to the ceiling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, what would you think you would be like if you didn't cry, or like just kind of like let it out, like you just stuck that shit out and kept it moving?
What do you mean?
So like, if you just didn't cry, like if you just like because I feel like with you, that's your emotional response, you know. Like there are a lot of people that can't take compliments, you know what I'm saying? They get all.
I can't take compliments.
Like, but with you, I could tell when something really moves you one way or the other, because you're gonna cry.
Well, I don't like that shit.
I mean,
I don't like a motherfucker being able to read me like that.
I mean, it's not a like a weird, like I'm not trying
that
to.
That shit
like,
made me uncomfortable like a motherfucker.
I see.
Damn. Hey, can you ask this guy to see if there's any, I don't know.
That's very telling.
Somebody needs to, I'm deflecting.
You're deflecting?
Yeah, I'm getting this shit off. Changing the subject.
Oh, okay. Let's shake. Well,
okay. No,
I
mean, no, well, I'm good. I mean, like, yeah.
So, you know.
He can crawl under the camera. Yeah.
Thank you, mystery.
Don't go that way, though.
Mystery person.
Mystery dude.
You know, you had unorthodox examples of parents.
Unorthodox.
And, authority figures and, people that would kind of, mold you. So where do you pull inspiration from being a father?
I don't know. Because I struggle with that. Not having a father, not having anybody to look for that, and never having that. Well, I had it in Ronnie, the pimp, but you see how that worked out. You know what I mean? But
it gave you a little security.
Yeah, but it also taught me a whole lot of shit that didn't serve me well. I don't know, because I still struggle with having kids. I still struggle with not being deserving?
Of having kids? Wow.
Yeah.
Well, technically, as humans, that's what we're supposed to do, bare minimum.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's a big one. 'Cause I look at them and I go, it's like weird to me. It's really weird to me, and I'm like, wow, why the fuck do you?
That you created that.
No, why the fuck do you love me? Like, why in the fuck? Why are you calling me dad? Why? That's some deep-seated shit.
Yeah, I mean, but think about your relationship with your own.
Damn, you don't have no napkins around this bitch?
I totally fucked that up. I don't.
God
Sorry.
damn, I didn't expect this. I told my son earlier that I was gonna do this, and I said,
Did he say all shit?
yeah, he did say all shit. And then I go, I'll probably cry. And he goes, well, we already know that, Dad. And I was like, yeah. But I said, I think I'll be all right. And I thought I would be. Oh shit, flying toilet paper.
Well, if it gets too goddamn.
No, I'm good because.
We'll use your safe word.
Refrigerator. No, I'm good because I told him, I was like, well, I asked him to listen in too. I was like, maybe you'll learn something about me, because as much as I talk about shit, I'm really guarded about a lot of shit, about myself and about me and about my thoughts and shit. But yeah, my kids are a big one because I don't know, maybe because of my mom, and then not having a father, and then going through all the shit that I went through with that, the whole ordeal with that, and it's whatever,
And you wouldn't want them to experience some of the more horrible things that you experienced,
Yeah, but I did. I put them through some shit.
I think a lot of that has to do with you not having the tools.
Well, nobody has the tools. That's the thing. It's like, name a parent that fucking has a kid and goes, all right, I know exactly what to do with this
That's
shit.
for sure. That's for sure. But I only say you because I'm talking to you.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, so like the average parent. Like, so for me, one of the things that I've promised myself is that I would take it easy on me, and then just try to one day at a time.
That's good. Because one of the things I promised myself is that if I had kids, because I didn't have a father, that I would be active in their life.
Yeah. Being present is
period. But the problem
so
is,
fucking important.
So I have multiple kids. That shit didn't kind of work out. But then when I, the last two, this is gonna get murky. But the kids that I was able to raise, it was of the utmost importance. It's always been the utmost importance for me to be a father and be there, even if I knew I didn't know how to. But it was important for me to be there, and it still is. But at the same time, I fight with it all the time because I don't feel worthy or deserving, and I think that stems from not having a father. That shit's so important that, like, I don't even think that if half these women out there knew what they were doing to their, especially young men, by not having their fathers around, they would switch gears up real quick.
Don't fucking get me
I'm just saying.
started.
I'm just saying because it's a real thing.
Have enough fucking internet for that shit, okay? Like, we just don't. There's not enough fucking internet.
Not enough internet.
All right. What's something that you love now that you never imagined you would?
Wow. You're good. You're good. I don't know. Say that again?
What's something that you love now that you never imagined you would?
Having a family.
Damn. Sometimes it's weird when we relate on things like that. Like, that's yeah.
Having a home, having a family. I was talking to my sister about that shit, and we, like, all the time, like, we always have the conversation, like, we ain't even supposed to be here. If you look at the if you were to lay my life out on a piece of paper in a diagram, there's no way I'm supposed to be here. There's no fucking way I'm supposed to be here. There's no fucking way my sister's supposed to be here. But yet we are here. And it just I guess if I go back to one of those other questions about me, why I think the way that I think, is because I always feel like and I've always felt this way, that I'm supposed to be doing something important, or something. Like, there's always been that in my brain, that I'm like, almost like you're not you're not living up to what you're supposed to be doing. It's like, right when I want to quit something, it's like, no, you can't. There is a bigger picture for you. You're supposed to be doing, I don't know what the fuck it is. So I just push forward with whatever it is that I'm doing, even when I'm doing it ass backwards.
Okay. What are you most grateful for?
Ooh, I'm not liking you right now.
Sorry.
You don't have to apologize. What am I most grateful for? I don't know. The logical answer would probably be, I'm grateful for breathing and I'm alive. But I have a tattoo on my stomach that says, life is my pain. So that's like, yeah, it's not.
That's the thing.
Yeah. So what's the question again?
What are you most grateful for? You kind of answered it, though.
Did I?
I mean, life is my pain. I mean, so, like, you're still here.
That's what I was going to say. Something to that respect. Like,
I can respect that.
That I'm still here, and I still feel like I felt when I was a child. Like, there's something. Like, I always had this thought in my mind that I was destined for something great. I don't know what the fuck it is. I don't know if I'm whatever, but that would be like.
So magic, hope, optimism, all that
fairy dust
shit,
or whatever.
It still exists to you.
Yeah.
That's good, considering. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, there's a lot of people that,
I don't give up on dreams. That's key. I don't give up on no fucking dream, because dreams, I believe, are what kept me alive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't give up on none of that shit. So when I dream, and I also dream big as shit.
Yeah, and if you stop dreaming, your imagination dies. Like,
right.
What the fuck?
But I think, like, because I dream so big, that the failures aren't that. I can deal with the failures, because you know what I'm saying? If my dream is so fucking large and big that if I hit a stumbling block, it's like, well, fuck. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does.
It's just like, that ain't nothing.
It's like I threw it at the wall, it didn't stick.
No, yeah, because I'm already like, that dream is so large that, like, even if I make it a quarter of the way, I made it. You know what I mean? But I'm still shooting for that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But if I hit a wall, it doesn't deter me, because I've already pushed that far ahead. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't stop me from. It's that mentality that I have about when I was saying, like, what I said earlier about like, I can't fail. Like, I don't see it, and because I don't see it, maybe it's me being naive, or maybe it's just being whimsical, or fucking what is ignorance is bliss.
Yes, it is.
You know what I'm saying? But call it what you want, but it helps me to continue in whatever my endeavor is. If I wanted to sell dope, I was a good dope dealer, but my conscience didn't allow me to sell dope that long. I was and what you can't have a conscience when you're a dope dealer. We sell pharmaceuticals, and that shit used to fuck me up. I'd have people coming through, and one day they're great, the next day they look like shit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, man, what the fuck happened to you? At the same time, I'm handing them the shit, and then
correct, nigga,
at the end of the day, and then at the end of the day, I'm like, man, I'm over here just destroying motherfuckers. But then I looked at the money and was like, well, shit, well, it ain't, you know.
I think half the battle is actually having that conversation with yourself.
Really?
Because there's a lot of other people that wouldn't even do that, you know?
Well, it was a struggle. It was, and that's why, I mean, I was a good
That's a
good
lot.
drug
That's a
dealer,
lot in itself, though. Anyway, because I mean, I would say more often than not, you have people who are selling drugs that it's a necessity. You know,
Right.
and it's a they just have to. Like, there's not very many people that just woke up in the morning like, you know what, I'm gonna start selling crack today.
I did.
Well, you had to. Did you have other options?
At the time, yeah, shit. I've always had options.
I tried to fucking save you.
No, I've always had I'm like I said, like my brain is always working. So even if I'm in one situation, I'm always like,
So that was a means to another end, or
yeah,
okay, all right, that's cool. Motherfucker always gotta weigh their options.
options, choices.
All right, warning. These next two questions,
Are gonna make me cry.
these were the worst fucking two.
All right, I'm ready for it.
Let's do them back to back. Get them the fuck out of the way.
Go ahead.
All right, if you could go back to your darkest time, what would you say to yourself in that moment?
That's funny because I already did that in the darkest times. In those darkest times, I had conversations with myself. And I yelled and screamed at myself in those darkest times and told myself, what the fuck? A couple of those times I was in prison cells, you know, and everybody's asleep, and I'm just banging the goddamn wall and telling me, like, you gotta do better. You gotta do better. This isn't you. This isn't you. You didn't sign up for this shit. I do a lot of self-reflection. I always have. But there's always been a side that's always like, well, fuck it then. You know what I'm saying? And that's the other side that I struggle with a lot. Because if I get pushed too much, then I'll get like, I don't give a fuck. Do what you're gonna do. You know what I'm saying? Let the cards fall where they may. You ain't gonna like the outcome. It's like my shit. Go ahead. Go ahead. We'll see what happens.
A lot of people say prison is definitely a great way to lose your humanity.
Yeah.
Would you say like there is like a uniform amount of time where it just kind of slips away? Like we talking like lifer situations, or like
anybody that goes to prison, anybody that's ever been in prison can understand what I'm about to say. And I think I said this before when we talked. It leaves a little dark stain on your heart. A little, you know, you get that perfect shirt and then you get that stain and it just ruins the shirt. It's like that, but it's ongoing and never stopping. Because now you know. Now I know what's on the other side. I know outside of actually burning in hell, I know what's on the other side. So I know the real consequences of any of my fucking actions. I know. And I know what that entails, and I know what that means as far as what I got to do as a person, and what like dark shit I may have to get into once said shit happens or whatever. I know. And that's a fucked up thing, because if you get to a point, if you push to a point or anything, I know, okay, if I know I'm getting arrested, then fuck it. I'm just going to do the most. Because they already going to nail my ass to the cross anyway, so I'm going to do the most.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah, I'm going to do the most. I'm like, that's a bigger struggle, because when you, prison is the closest you can be to being dead. Because it's like they come and see you, but they can't see you. You know, it's like going to the cemetery. They can see you,
but they
can't see you.
Shit.
You know what I'm saying? You're there, but you can't see anything outside of the prison. You don't know what's going on in the world. You can see it on TV, but it's really not real. And in prison, they say, this is the real world. That shit is make-believe out there.
The Matrix.
Because this shit right here this is where all of everything of who you are counts. Because if you a tough ass nigga, you're gonna find out real quick if you a tough motherfucker or not. And even if you are a tough ass motherfucker, trust and believe in prison, there's somebody way tougher. And if you still another motherfucker that's just don't give a fuck, there's somebody that just doesn't give that much more of a fuck. So trying to find that balance is crazy, and trying to keep your wherewithal with all of that is crazy. And so imagine like coming, like I remember when I got out, it was tough for me to even sleep in the same bed for a long time, you know, because yeah, motherfucker touched me while I was in bed, like, yo, nigga, somebody dying tonight, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, prison is it's a fucked up place. There's nothing, there's no rehabilitation, there's none of that. When you go to prison, if a person does go to prison, it's up to you to not just take care of yourself, but manage that time. You got nothing but time, manage it. Like I literally got myself out of a serious jam by going to the law library and studying myself because of something a stupid ass public defender said to me, and I couldn't fathom what he was saying. And in my mind, I was like, this can't be real. And I took the time, because they allow you into the law libraries and shit, and I started going to the law library and looking that shit up, and I got myself out of potentially doing 24 years. Damn. And got it all the way broke. I broke their goddamn system. And I wrote letters to it's called per se, but I wrote per se really is you have to write up the form. There's no typewriter, so you have to write it up in legal form and in legal words what you're attempting or what you're trying to do, even if you're speaking for yourself in court. You can't just go, hey, Your Honor, I'm going to talk for myself. No, you can't do that. You have to approach the court and you have to write a letter per se. And so I did all that shit, did all the research on it. I was going to the law library every day. And when I found out, the key thing was like what happened was this motherfucker told me, and when he did it, it just fucked me up because he said, I got a deal for 24 years, and it sounds good to me, because if you don't take it, he's gonna hit you. He's gonna sentence you as a habitual criminal. And this motherfucker kicked his feet up on the table, and he said, "Let's go ahead and sign it," and like that, and put his feet up on the table and dropped the papers. And I was like, "What in the fuck? Who in the fuck?" Like I lost it at it, and I started cussing that motherfucker out and started banging on the door like, get me the fuck out of here before I hurt this motherfucker. Like I couldn't understand, like 24, what? Wait, what? Yeah, and that's what sparked me to go to the law library. And when I found out, had I not went to the law library, it wouldn't have happened to me, but I would have signed for 24 years because that felt like my only option. But the fact is that a judge can't convict you as a habitual criminal. You can get sentenced as a habitual criminal, but you can't be convicted you can't go in and be charged as a habitual criminal. You can only get sentenced, and the crimes have to be identical.
Right.
And the shit wasn't. But that's what he was trying to tell me.
So he was probably very, very used to people just
doing whatever,
listening to them.
But that
happens
words more so than not. If
yeah.
If because motherfuckers won't take the time. Like I have, friends and shit that they know that I've been to prison and they know what I've done, to get myself out that jam and shit. And they'll call me like, man, I'm looking at this, I'm looking at that. I'm like, hey man, to me it really boils down to morality. Like, did you do it? Because if you did, what is the maximum that you feel like you can deal with? Because they're gonna slam your ass anyway. You know what I'm saying? So what can you deal with? Because if you didn't do it, fight it tooth and nail. Because that's where I made my biggest mistake, and that's where I ended up in prison, by not fighting it. So when I did have that one moment where I was like, fuck that, you know what I'm saying? But I wish I would have done that in the beginning, because I didn't do that shit. And if I would have never signed that shit, I would have never ended up down this other fucking road. You know what I'm saying? So I tell motherfuckers, it boils down to morality, motherfucker. Did you do it? That's the question. You ain't got to answer me because we're on a recorded phone, you know what I'm saying, or whatever the case. You ain't got to answer me.
But just know.
Just know, did you do it? And just like the prosecution gives you a plea bargain, you can give them a plea bargain as well back. So you can reject that shit and say, oh, no, this is what I'll take, and this is what I'll take. You tell your attorney to give them a plea bargain back in return, and so on and so forth. But to me, it really just boils down to morality, your morals, your integrity. Did you do it? Okay, if you did it, how many years or how many months of your life you think that's worth?
That's fucked up.
I mean, if you want a real answer, like that would be the realest answer. And I said, and the only way you're going to get that is if your answer is for real, and you give that to your attorney and you tell him, yeah, man, I fucked up, whatever, but it ain't worth 15 years of my motherfucking life. I'll muscle through 5, not 15, bro. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, it's what it really boils down to. And then, you know, you go and you say you confess to all of it or do whatever the fuck, you know what I'm saying? But if you want to take your fucking chances and roll the dice, go ahead. I mean, but from what I've learned, you know, if you didn't do it, fight that shit tooth and nail. If you did do it, what's it worth to you?
Yeah, that'd make it even worse if you sitting in there and you ain't even do the shit for real.
Yeah. Well, I've been down that road.
All right. All right. All of the people you have ever loved are in one room. Who do you run to?
For one, I ain't never answering that question online, on live. No, I ain't answering that question behind no camera, behind no microphone, behind no.
All right, let's flip the coin.
Nah, no, because I love everybody.
Well, then who runs to you?
Probably nobody.
I doubt that.
Nah, I don't. I really don't. I don't see it, at least. Not running to me. They might walk over slowly and look back and say, I'm the only one going?
Well, at least you just won't be standing in the corner like, all right, well,
yeah.
Nobody came to see me play. All right. Okay. What's the first thing you notice in a stranger?
Their demeanor, their body language, and their eyes. The eyes to me are a dead giveaway to everything.
Okay.
And their demeanor, body language, to me is always the dead giveaway. You can't hide behind your eyes. I mean, you can try to, but if a person is observant enough, you can see a lot. You can see a lot in someone's eyes, if you're open to looking and really looking, and know what you're looking for. I think, and back to prison. Prison taught me a lot about body language and people's character and integrity, because you have to watch motherfuckers and you have to be mindful of what somebody's doing, what they're thinking, or try to think what they're thinking, or whatever in the fuck. So being a good judge of character and being a good judge of a person when you meet them is an integrable part of who I am. I think, because I'm a judgmental ass motherfucker. In my mind, I don't really do it out loud. I try not to. When I used to get drunk, I just blurt the shit out. I'm like, man, I don't like that motherfucker. You know what I mean? And
but like knowing the truth, do
Yeah.
you believe like people could truly change?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why I fuck with a lot of people until they show me different. I'll fuck with somebody in the beginning. I'll fuck with somebody until you show me different. And when you show me different, then it's really no coming back from that, because I will overextend myself to someone. I will help do whatever it is that I can, because I know what it is to not have that help, and to not have somebody to be your cheerleader, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Or not necessarily a cheerleader, but, you know, a pat on the back here and there, you know, hey man, fuck, I appreciate you type shit. You know what I mean? I've been down that road where there's nobody. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I believe in everybody. Everybody can get a shot, but once you, that's how I am in music. Like, I'll give you some shit, but if you don't do anything with it, I will take that shit the fuck back, and I will give it to somebody who's gonna use it. It's like, I'm not gonna give you the coat off my back, you know, because you say you're freezing, only for you to fucking tie it around your waist.
Right, if I tie it around your waist, throw it down, let another bitch step on it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. Well, if I do, you would never be able to ask me for anything again.
Yes. Okay. All right. One thing I can say about you though, that I've learned over the last couple of years, is the one thing that stands out the most is how you treat people that can't do shit for you. You know what I'm saying? Like you have nothing to gain from that person. You know what I mean? Like,
what does that mean?
So like in terms of like the things that we're doing creatively, right? Like you open up your whole situation to anybody who really has an idea. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, one of the things that I've learned about myself over the years is that I can't fucking stand when I'm saying something to somebody and they don't understand what I'm saying, but they don't even like just ask like, you know, probing questions, try to see where I'm coming from or whatever. Or like if I express a feeling to somebody or like share an idea or something with somebody and they just kind of like shit on it or project their insecurities on me and like kind of try to crush my dream. But one thing I can say about you is that motherfucker could just be like, hey, you know what? I think we should just go skydiving, right? And then we should have sparklers and we should just spin around and shit and capture it. And I think that'd be dope. And you would literally be like, okay, so what time we going? And like, should we do this in the field? Or you think we should like
That's how you see me?
go to like a facility? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because like, I mean, if we could be truthful with this, the whole idea with this show, like I had an idea. I mentioned it loosely, very fucking loosely in the conversation. It was like, all right, well, fuck it then, where you want to do it? And then I said, you know, what I kind of like envisioned, you know, and then like that shit became a reality. So it's kind of like a director of photography in a movie. They're supposed to pull the director's vision and like make that a reality. So like, it's kind of like what you are.
Wow,
big-ass
like
director.
a big-ass muse
Yes,
or something?
you're like a big-ass director of photography. You really, you see people, you know, for who they are. And in a lot of cases, you pull things out of people that they didn't even know what was in them. Like, that's some real shit.
You know where I think that comes from? My mother, because she wasn't, she didn't nurture any creativity. She didn't nurture any of that. If anything, she was the crusher of dreams. You know what I'm saying? And one of the things that I've always said to myself is that if I got it and somebody else, and you know, even in the music industry, like when I learned shit, a lot of times it was too late. You know what I'm saying? But I would be like, man, because the old saying was the game is to be sold, not told. And I was like, man, fuck that. If somebody ever asks me a question about something, I'm going to tell them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to tell them. And that same thing with music or doing someone wanting to be creative, because I know what it's like to have somebody just step on your fucking dreams and not give a fuck and not encourage, you know, because when I look back at all of the things that I've done and the places I've been and the shit that I'm grateful for all of it, but as great as a lot of it was a fight, it was a fucking struggle, because there wasn't anybody that was nurturing the dream. There wasn't anybody that was patting me on the back, or not that I needed it, but there wasn't anybody that said, oh, you're going to be great, you're going to this. And I think people need that shit. I mean, as people, we need that shit. You know what I mean? I don't like the shit. I don't like when motherfuckers tell me, you know, oh, you're doing great. And I'm just like, yeah. And then part of that is because of my thinking is like, well, they don't know that the bigger plan is like, this ain't shit to me. You know what I'm saying? And it's not to shit on anybody that tells me something, but it's just like the way my mind works. It's just like, nah, but this ain't that. It's bigger than that, you know, in my mind. But from however my mother was, it's like, I know how that felt. And so to me, it's like, oh, like even with my kids, like, oh, I was talking to somebody today and they were like, well, I bought my kid a guitar and he doesn't want to do the guitar, but I'm making him go to drum classes and making him go to piano. I'm like, well, did you ever think that because they said they wanted to play the guitar, but they never picked it up, but you're not giving them the same interest. You're making them do that shit because that's what you want them to do. Well, I got them to the guitar, so that's basically me showing no, but you're not putting the same energy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And even if you just say, hey, if you tried the guitar, let me see what you learned, man. Let me check it out. You know what I mean? What's up? You want to try to do it? You know what I mean? Like, let's go. Fucking pick the, show me what you learned. Like, show me, like, I just, like, to nurture creativity to me is like the best thing ever, because, you know, for some of us, like, I'm a person, I was that kid that sat in the corner and draw and was in my own little world. And it's important, I think, especially as parents, to nurture that shit. Some of it I got wrong, you know what I'm saying? I was really bad with my son in him wanting to do music and everything. But I was also that way for a reason in my mind. Because I know this industry is harsh as fuck.
Yes.
And he needed to be super thick-skinned, and and maybe I went about it the wrong way, but I did not crush his dreams. Never, 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 never.
And that is empowering people, fostering security and strength. Like some of those things that you got from Ronnie and your mom, and it might have been a little warped the way they delivered the package, but
Warped is an understatement, but
I think that's what you kind of pull from that, and those are the things that you're giving to other people, starting with your kids, you know what I'm saying? But shit, all of us, you know what I'm saying, from the Unwrap family, because, you're taking, ideas and passions and shit that we want to do that we would never have been able to do in this way on our own, you know what I'm saying? And like, you should feel proud, you know what I'm saying? Because that's part of your legacy. It's a whole bunch of people that you gave the opportunity to flourish and live in their creativity. I appreciate that.
oh well.
Muchos gracias.
I appreciate you saying it. I almost said fuck you like that. I swear to God, I almost said fuck you like, man, I ain't even thinking about that
I
shit.
mean, if you think about it, it's over,
Yeah.
My mom all out of questions, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well,
Everything that needed to be said pretty much was,
I suppose. I mean, goddamn, you're good. You're fucking good. I'll tell you that much. I didn't expect a lot of that. Well,
I'm good. I'm on. See, sorry, damn. That's what I wanted. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you for letting me be the guinea pig.
Hey,
And
we popped the cherry.
Yeah, pop the cherry. You're no longer a virgin.
No Diddy. Maybe
All Diddy.
Maybe all Diddy.
All Diddy.
Yeah.
And thank you for having me and listening to my nonsense.
Yeah, well,
It's been eye-opening for me, too.
thank you for
It's
letting
been,
me be your trustee.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Oh, yeah, if they want to find, I just, like, the taste of my own medicine.
damn.
If you want to find me, I have a tattoo that says, I love those who, from the Bible, a passage from the Bible. It's Proverbs 8:17, is that it says, I love those who love me, and those who seek me diligently will find me. And I kind
Hashtag
of,
heat detector.
huh?
Hashtag heat detector.
Hashtag heat detector. Yeah, but that's not my, I don't know. You can find me everywhere. Fucking Instagram, heat detector, Facebook, heat detector. Everything is either heat detector or unwrap. Type in any of that shit on all social medias. You'll find me, and you'll find the crew, and you'll find everybody. And maybe some people you don't want to find.
To this day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I guess is that the end of your
that
show?
is the end of the
I'm
show.
out of the hot seat. I was over here scrambling and like, man, I felt like, you know what I felt like in the weirdest way that the police were going to come kick we got him finally.
Damn.
You know, on some like, book him.
Yeah. Your body language was a little like that, But I mean,
It's unnerving.
I think that when we are being honest and talking about shit that is deeper than the surface, that kind of happens.
Yeah.
I
agree.
But these are the types of situations that we need to show the world real life. I mean, beyond motherfuckers trying to prank each other and filling up their house with fucking styrofoam packing beans and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm definitely going to have to decompress after this shit.
Yeah, I know. It's all good.
But yeah, it's all good though.
But I mean, it felt great. I really, seriously, I know I'm be fucking around, but I appreciate you being my first guest. I thought it was only fitting.
Make me fucking cry again. Goddamn.
I thought it was only fitting.
See, I'm a heat detector. I ain't supposed to cry.
Yeah.
Damn it.
You've done that about 62 times this fucking episode. So
no.
That shit's over with.
All right. Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for allowing me to be the guinea pig.
You're very welcome.
I think you're going to be really successful with this. I know it's going to be. You're really good.
Yes.
You're really good at this, and I think you're going to be really successful. I'm seriously honored to like sit back and watch you grow into this and see how you do. I see good things.
I've been wanting to do this shit for so fucking long.
I can tell.
It just feels very natural.
And you're a natural.
Me like it.
Well, I was gonna say if you can make me cry, but goddamn, it's not that not that difficult really. But yeah, thank you.
Well, if you guys want to see more motherfuckers cry, check me out every Tuesday at 8. Be on Rumble and YouTube. You can look for Unwrap, UNRAP. That's where it will always be. This has been the Trust Tree. I am your trustee, the NASHVINO. In the words of Avon Barksdale, keep it light, but keep it. Peace.